How rare is it, Berend?
Pretty rare. It's also pretty and rare.
But is it
so pretty
actually
rare.
pretty rare?
It's actually pretty rare.
Ah. Is it rarer or more pretty?
Actually, I think it's more prettier than rare, but it's also rarer than pretty. What up, all my fellow watch buddies? I hope you're all doing fine today. Today it is time for another episode of Berend Talks Watches, and in today's episode it's about the most desirable Rolex watch, the Rolex Daytona. The Rolex Daytona is Rolex 3-counter chronograph, and a chronograph is a watch that was used by racing drivers and pilots to measure track times and distance times. And rumors go that Rolex wanted to call their new race watch the cosmograph after the famous Le Mans track in France, but because they wanted to focus more on the American market, they decided to call it after the Daytona racetrack in Florida. That's why the name Daytona. The craziest thing about the Daytona is that it is now so desirable, and getting a new one at your dealer is almost impossible, but back in the days it was the complete opposite. The Daytona was the least popular model and was even cheaper than a Datejust. That's also why there are so many different dial layouts, references and little changes on the earlier ones, because Rolex was figuring out what the right recipe was. These days it is really crazy to see how these prices went up on these Newman Daytonas. And to me the 6262 and 6241 Newman are very special, because I grew up with them. My father used to own many vintage Daytonas and also Newmans, and during my youth I've seen already a lot pass by during the passion meetings, gatherings, watch meetings, and that's always been my dad's favorite watch. So I got a bunch of Daytonas here at the table. Some were already sold before we had the chance of filming, but let's go through a few. So this watch is very early into the lifespan of the Daytona, which is the 6239, which was the first Daytona reference introduced in 1960 and made till late 69. And the first ones had a cream dial, said no Daytona on the dial, double Swiss and an underline. But the later ones did feature the word Daytona and had a black dial on a silver dial. And this is one with a silver dial. And there is just something plain, subtle and beautiful about it, which makes it an all-time great classic and one of the most beautiful Rolex designs ever made. Especially with the bump pushers, the steel bezel and the black subdials is one of my favorite configurations. And also on this black racing strap, it really brings that race charisma, that vintage charisma back, which is just stunning. The 6239 and 6241, which is the one with the backlight bezel, are basically the same watches but feature different bezel types. And the 6231 was also the reference that Paul Newman owned himself with the exotic dial. That's also why the name Newman dials. And that watch was famously auctioned by Philips and became the most valuable Rolex watch ever sold. So if we have another look here at the table, I have another Daytona, which is this one. So a bit later into the lifespan of the Daytona, Rolex introduced 3 new references with screw-down pushers instead of pump pushers. And the reason behind this is because Rolex wanted to increase waterproofness. And these were also the first Daytonas to feature the word oyster on the dial. The first reference to feature screw-downs was a prototype reference 6240. And after the 6240 came the 6263 and the 6265. And this is the 6265, but not a normal 6265. But one with a very rare Sigma big red dial. A striking dial in striking condition and a combination which you won't find often. And this one comes with its original punched papers and box, which is very special. And this color combination is just striking to me. The combination of the black dial, the white subdials, the red writing, the silver is just killer. Of course this watch is very collectible and very valuable, but I think it's also the only Daytona you will ever need. And I personally prefer the 6265 because it has the steel bezel. I think it looks smarter and makes the watch stand out more. And the watch I'm wearing today is also 6265, which is this one, but not a normal 6265 because this is my dad's 6265, which I would ask him now to come in and tell his passion about it.
Hey there.
Hi Dad. Your watch.
Yeah, thank you. Hi guys, it's Berend Bulang and I'm proud to be part of Berend Bulang's Talks Watches. I'm very proud that he's now part of the team, joining in, but also mostly, you know, sharing his passion and his discoveries of watches in this series. You know, also trying to inspire a new generation to really share the watch love. So yeah, my 6265, you might think like, hey, but it has a backlight bezel, how it is a 6265? Yeah, that's just me. You know, I like to mix and match, so I change bracelets, straps, and also the bezel now and then, just for different look. You know, maybe I can only afford one Daytona, so I can change the style and looks now and then, and I really enjoy it. And I'm wearing this one, as you can see, on a Jubilee bracelet. So also that would be, from some people would say like, hey, how can it be that a Daytona on a Jubilee bracelet? But they actually have been done, and there are special endings for it, so you can fit the Jubilee bracelet on a Daytona. Back then people could choose their bracelets more easily. And what I really like is the contrast, the kind of friction between the sporty, elegant Jubilee bracelet with the case of the Daytona. I also wear sometimes my the Submariner on a Jubilee bracelet. So yeah, what I like most about this watch and the Daytona in general, of course, is the design. For me, the design of a Daytona is the most striking design Rolex ever made.
I agree.
But what I also really like, and with this one, most of the people always look for Daytona 62, 63 with a big red dial. I have owned a couple of them, and over the years I have discovered my personal favorite are the earlier dials without Daytona on the dial, where it's, you know, less flashy in a way, and a little bit more connoisseur, and has a little bit more, you know, vintage vibe to me. And I really like that, the simplicity, but also the popping black eyes without the red on the dial. So yeah, that's a little bit about my Daytona. I hope everyone in the world would be able to enjoy a really nice Daytona. It has become really hard to find nice ones in nice condition, and they have become so valuable. But we really are happy to share the love for them, and hope we can inspire a little bit with this series. So Berend, keep up the great work, keep up all these nice videos, and share the love.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now my dad and I talked about some vintage references, but let's dive deeper into the later references. And when Rolex introduced a new reference in the late 80s, the 16520, they changed a lot to gain their goal. And this reference is also known as the Zenith Daytona, because it is powered by the movement of the Zenith El Primero. And that's a big change, because they made the watch automatically wind instead of manually wind. Besides the change in movement, the biggest differences between the 4 digits and the new Zenith ones are the size, from 37mm to 40mm. Also, they gave it a sapphire crystal instead of a plexi crystal, and they were only fitted now on with screw down pushers and crown guards. And the first 16520 dial that was launched is the so-called Porcelain Dial, which we just sold before filming this video, and is now on the other side of the world with a great client. And to me, these dials make a really big difference, because the porcelain dials have a 3D effect in it, which is so pretty. And also the Daytona right wing has a more orange color to it, which really pops out, and also the white lacquered color is so beautiful. And I think this is one of the most beautiful and most exciting Daytonas which you can get. And also it's a real collector's piece, not only because it's value, because it's the most valuable Daytona in this video, but also because it's so rare. Besides the extremely rare porcelain dial, I have another 16520 here, which would be the best choice to go for if you're looking towards a later Zenith Daytona. And personally, I love the black dials very much, especially when the sub dials turn into a very brown, warm, mellow color like on this one. Often when they color more, they will be called Patrizi, but I think this combination with the tritium markers is absolutely stunning to look at. And also this one is unpolished, which is really nice to see, and also hold in your hands. Absolutely stunning Zenith Daytona. Next to the black dial Zenith Daytonas, you also have the white dials, which I think are absolutely lovely to look at. They have that vintage panda dial feeling, and also I think they are the best summer watches you can get. So today I only talked about the vintage and neo-vintage references, but of course you also have the later references, like that lovely APH dial we recently sold, a watch I really loved, and also of course the new ceramic dial Daytonas, which really bring that heritage black bezel look back. I love these references both, and I think they're really great for what they are. I hope you enjoyed my Daytona video. We always have the best Daytonas in our lineup, and our watch experts will make sure we always find the right one for you. So if you're looking for Daytona, make sure you come to us. Hope to see you next time. Keep up the good stuff and your watch love. Goodbye.